Chapter 1. The Auction and the Unlikely Purchase. Jacob Merrick had learned long ago that in the vastness of the cosmos, fortune favored neither the bold nor the cautious, but the desperate who dared to risk everything for a glimmer of hope. The Galactic Salvage Auction was the crucible of such hopes and fears, a colossal marketplace suspended in the orbit of an unremarkable star where the remnants of forgotten civilizations, rusted starships, and outmoded technology passed hands in a blur of holographic bids and whispered promises. Here, among the noise and clamor of hundreds of bidders from the fringes of human and alien society alike, Jacob sought a vessel not for glory or conquest, but for survival, freedom, and the possibility of a new beginning. The auction hall was a cavernous expanse, its ceilings lost in shadow and flickering with the light of countless advertisements and digital billboards. The air hummed with the undercurrent of tension and anticipation, seasoned by the distinct metallic scent of machinery and the faint trace of ionized air from a nearby reactor bank. Ships of every conceivable make and design were arrayed before the audience, hulking cargo freighters with patched hulls, sleek scout vessels scarred by nebulous storms, and battered fighters rumored to have fought in the ancient wars that still echoed in the minds of veterans. Each ship bore the patina of a life well lived or abruptly cut short. Each was a story waiting to be rewritten. Jacob's eyes rested on a particular freighter, the Ardent Voyager, listed as a legacy class craft once used for deep space exploration by a now-defunct scientific consortium. Its exterior was battered and faded, its paint chipped away by decades of cosmic radiation and asteroid impacts. But beneath the scars lay a reputation for durability and adaptability. The specifications, though dated, suggested a ship capable of handling long voyages and heavy cargo, albeit with systems needing extensive repair. The auctioneer's voice echoed through the hall, enumerating the ship's features, and as the bids began, Jacob's pulse quickened. The price escalated rapidly, fueled by rival bidders who saw the Ardent Voyager as a valuable prize. But fate, as it often did in Jacob's life, took an unexpected turn. A last-minute announcement echoed over the comms, diverting attention to a small, obscure ship parked in the far corner of the lot, a vessel simply known as the Nebula's Whisper. It was a modest ship, far less impressive than the Ardent Voyager, with a hull scratched and dulled by age, systems flagged as unverified, and a price tag shockingly low for any operational craft. The catch? The ship was sold as is, and came with a living asset, currently housed within the vessel, a note that sent ripples of curiosity and apprehension through the gathered bidders. Jacob's curiosity overcame his caution. He had no illusions about his chances, but the idea of acquiring a ship with such an unusual addition intrigued him. As the bidding war erupted around the Nebula's Whisper, he placed a bid modest but determined, feeling the weight of destiny settle upon his shoulders. To his astonishment, the auctioneer's hammer fell, and the ship was his. Walking to the Nebula's Whisper was like stepping into the shadow of a forgotten era. The ship's airlock hissed open, revealing a cramped interior scented faintly of ozone, and something else, something indescribable and electric. And then he saw her. The alien woman emerged from the shadows, tall and slender, her skin shimmering with an iridescent sheen that seemed to ripple like liquid glass. Her eyes, large and almond-shaped, glowed with a soft, otherworldly light, silver and sapphire swirling within their depths, reflecting stars Jacob had never seen. She moved with a quiet grace, her presence both commanding and vulnerable. Her hair flowed like tendrils of shadow and light, framing a face that was at once beautiful and hauntingly alien. She spoke, not in words Jacob recognized, but in a melodic cadence that vibrated within his chest like music from another dimension. Though her language was foreign, the tone conveyed intelligence, warmth, and an unspoken plea. She was more than an asset, she was a living enigma, a companion thrown together with a battered ship and a past wrapped in mystery. Jacob realized that his life had irrevocably changed. The cheap ship he had bought was no mere vessel, it was a gateway to adventure, danger, and an extraordinary connection that would challenge every belief he held. As the Nebula's Whisper powered up, its engines humming to life beneath them, Jacob looked at the alien woman and knew that together they would face whatever the vast, uncharted cosmos threw their way. The auction was over, but their true journey was just beginning. Chapter 2. Awakening the Past. The hum of the nebula's Whisper's engines was both comforting and alien as it vibrated through the hull, a quiet pulse of life awakening after years of dormancy. Jacob stood on the bridge, the soft glow of control panels illuminating his face, eyes tracing the unfamiliar symbols and ancient runes etched across the ship's interface. Every flicker of light and surge of data whispered secrets of technology far beyond his usual experience, an intricate dance of organic and synthetic elements fused in ways that blurred the line between machine and life. Beside him, the alien woman watched silently, her eyes reflecting the starfield visible through the expansive viewport, as if she read the cosmic tides written in the scattered points of light. She was patient, a sentinel waiting for the right moment to reveal more of herself, her past, and the legacy carried within her being. Jacob's mind raced with questions, swirling through fragments of hope and apprehension. Who was she truly? What history did this ship hold? And how had her fate become so entwined with his? As he began exploring the ship's databanks, the fragmented logs he uncovered offered glimpses of a saga rich with triumph and tragedy of a civilization once at the forefront of galactic discovery, now reduced to whispers and shadows. The nebula's Whisper was more than a ship. It was a vessel of memory, a floating archive that carried the echoes of a world long lost to war and time. Within its core, the alien woman's identity was interwoven, a living key to secrets that span millennia. Their first days together were a tentative exploration of unfamiliar territory. Communication was a mosaic of gestures, shared glances, and slowly pieced together words, the gaps bridged by empathy and the subtle language of presence. She showed him how to listen to the hum of the ship, the cadence of its living systems, and the quiet rhythms that governed the organic circuitry embedded in its frame. In turn, Jacob shared fragments of human culture, stories of resilience, of exploration, of the stubborn hope that had driven humanity to the stars despite the darkness threatening to consume them. Their bond grew in the quiet spaces between words, in the shared tasks of repairing worn systems and navigating the starways, a dance of trust forged through necessity and growing affection. Yet the shadows of their pasts lurked ever near. Strange signals flickered on the ship's scanners, encrypted transmissions from unknown sources, veiled threats cloaked in static. Jacob's instincts, honed through years in the underbelly of spacefaring life, warned of pursuit. The alien woman's serene exterior concealed memories of betrayal and flight, her people hunted by forces wielding technologies that twisted the very fabric of existence. Each day that passed on the nebula's Whisper was a step closer to confrontation, a collision course set by history and the unyielding will of those who sought to reclaim what had been lost. Amid the vastness of space, Jacob found himself caught in the delicate balance between protector and partner, his life no longer his own, but intricately linked to the woman who had emerged from the shadows of a ship he thought was a mere bargain. Together, they began to unravel the threads of a mystery that stretched across star systems and centuries, a tapestry woven with the light of forgotten stars and the dark stains of cosmic conflict. The journey ahead promised peril and revelation, but also the chance to forge a new destiny not just for themselves, but for the fragile hope embodied in the alien woman and the whisper of her lost world. Chapter 3. Shadows Across the Stars. The cold void of space had an eerie way of amplifying both hope and fear, transforming the vast emptiness between stars into a crucible where destinies were forged and shattered alike. As the nebula's Whisper glided silently through the labyrinth of forgotten star lanes and ancient trade routes, Jacob found himself grappling not only with the challenges of keeping their vessel operational, but also with the overwhelming gravity of the life he now shared with the alien woman Lyria. Her presence was a constant reminder that beneath the veneer of a bargain ship lay mysteries deep as the cosmos, and a story tangled with the fate of entire civilizations. Their days became a tapestry of contrasts, moments of quiet intimacy broken by sudden bursts of frantic activity as the ship's systems demanded repair or evasive maneuvers. Jacob had always known the life of a salvager was unforgiving, but nothing in his past had prepared him for the layered complexity of Lyria's world, and the ancient technology pulsing beneath the ship's hull. The nebula's whisper was part machine, part living entity, and understanding its needs was a dance of patience and intuition. The ship responded to Lyria's touch as if to a long-lost kin, its bioluminescent circuits glowing brighter in her presence, reverberating with memories stored in neural matrices older than most star systems. Lyria's stories, once fragmented and cryptic, began to coalesce into a haunting narrative of exile and resistance. She belonged to the Ilari, a once mighty civilization whose mastery of bioengineering and temporal manipulation had made them both revered and feared. Their downfall had come swiftly, a convergence of internal strife, ruthless enemies wielding forbidden technologies, and a cataclysmic event that shattered their homeworld and scattered survivors across the stars. Lyria was one of the last of her kind, carrying within her the encoded knowledge of her people's history, culture, and technology. Her journey to Jacob's world was not accidental, but a desperate flight from those who sought to capture and exploit her knowledge. Their alliance became a beacon of hope amidst encroaching darkness. Yet that darkness was relentless. As they traversed the fringes of known space, shadowy pursuers began to close in mercenaries and agents equipped with advanced sensors and weapons capable of tearing through starship hulls with terrifying efficiency. Every jump through hyperspace carried the risk of detection. Every silent drift through asteroid belts was a dance with death. Jacob's skills as a pilot and scavenger were pushed to the limit as he navigated through deadly nebulae and ancient debris fields, each maneuver a test of nerve and precision. Amidst the tension, the bond between Jacob and Lyria deepened beyond necessity into something profoundly human. Their shared isolation and peril forged an unspoken understanding, trust born in fire and solitude. In the ship's dimly lit quarters, surrounded by flickering consoles and the gentle pulse of the ship's life support systems, they found moments of fragile normalcy. Lyria would weave stories of her people through shimmering holographic displays, painting visions of soaring crystal cities, fields of glowing flora, and oceans of light. Jacob, in turn, shared tales of Earth, its ruins and hopes, its wars and dreams. Their exchanges bridged species and culture, forming a tapestry of connection that defied the cold void outside. But the past was not so easily escaped. One fateful day, as the nebula's whisper approached an uncharted system rumored to harbor an ancient Ilari outpost, their pursuers struck with brutal precision. A swarm of sleek, hostile vessels appeared on the sensors, deploying advanced electromagnetic pulses designed to cripple the ship's systems. The nebula's whisper shuddered under the assault, alarms blaring as power flickered and vital components went offline. Jacob's hands flew over controls, fighting to stabilize the engines and restore shields while Lyria's bioluminescent patterns flared brightly, her connection to the ship intensifying as she interfaced directly with the ship's neural core. The battle was a symphony of chaos and resilience. Against overwhelming odds, they danced through the maelstrom, Jacob's piloting skill matched by Lyria's intimate command of the ship's living technology. They exploited the shadows of an asteroid belt, weaving between jagged rocks and cosmic debris to shake their pursuers. The ship, responding to Lyria's will, unleashed bursts of energy that disabled enemy sensors and scrambled targeting arrays. It was a desperate gambit, one that teetered on the edge of destruction, but together they prevailed, the attackers forced to retreat into the void. In the aftermath, the ship's hull bore fresh scars, systems groaning under the strain of battle, and both Jacob and Lyria carried invisible wounds of fear, loss, and the fragile hope that their journey might yet succeed. Yet, amid the wreckage, a new resolve took root. The Ilari outpost awaited, a beacon of possibility and peril. If they could reach it, they might uncover allies, technology, and answers that could turn the tide of their struggle. As the stars wheeled overhead in silent witness, Jacob looked to Lyria and saw reflected in her eyes not just survival, but a fierce determination to reclaim what had been lost, to forge a future from the shattered fragments of the past. Their voyage was no longer just a flight from shadows, but a quest toward light, toward redemption, and toward a love born among the stars. Chapter 4: Beyond the Horizon of Fate. The nebula's whisper glided silently through the swirling mists of the uncharted star system, its hull reflecting the shimmering hues of unknown suns, as if wrapped in the very fabric of the cosmos. Each pulse of the ship's bioluminescent circuits felt like a heartbeat, steady and resolute, a living testament to the union forged between Jacob and Lyria, two souls tethered by chance and fate amid the vastness of space. The weight of their journey pressed upon them, the pursuit of sanctuary, the unraveling of ancient legacies, and the unspoken promise of a new beginning. But beneath that weight lay the fragile ember of hope, glowing steadily despite the darkness that sought to consume it. The approach to the Ilari outpost was breathtaking, a cathedral of crystal spires piercing through an iridescent atmosphere, suspended above lush bioluminescent forests that stretched into the horizon. It was a sanctuary frozen in time, a bastion of resilience amid the cosmos' relentless churn. The ancient technology that powered the outpost hummed with dormant potential, waiting to be rekindled by the touch of those who remembered its sacred purpose. Jacob felt a swell of awe and humility as they crossed the threshold, knowing that the fragile piece here was a fragile thread in a cosmic web woven with sacrifice and vigilance. Their arrival did not go unnoticed. The inhabitants, a mixture of Ilari survivors and their allies, greeted Lyria with a reverence that transcended words. She was not merely a visitor. She was the living embodiment of their history and their future, a beacon that reignited the dormant spirit of a people scattered by war and exile. The community was a tapestry of vibrant cultures and technologies, their society blending organic artistry and advanced engineering in ways that defied human comprehension. Jacob, though an outsider by birth and species, was welcomed with cautious warmth, his actions having proven him a protector and partner, a bridge between worlds. Days turned into weeks as Jacob and Lyria worked alongside the Ilari to restore the outpost systems, rekindling ancient engines and weaving new alliances. The outpost was more than a refuge. It was a command center, a hub from which the scattered remnants of the Ilari might coordinate resistance against the shadowy forces that had shattered their civilization. The technology here was astounding: holographic star charts that revealed hidden corridors of space-time, bioneural interfaces that connected minds across vast distances, and defensive systems capable of manipulating gravitational fields. Jacob's own skills grew as he learned to navigate and repair these wonders, his bond with Lyria deepening through shared purpose and unspoken affection. Yet, the specter of conflict loomed ever closer. Intelligence gathered through the outpost sensors revealed the approach of a fleeting armada of mechanized warships commanded by the relentless enemies who sought to possess the knowledge Lyria carried. These foes wielded technologies that warped reality itself, machines fused with corrupted life forms, their ambitions dark and unyielding. The coming battle would test every ounce of strength, courage, and unity that the survivors could muster. In the quiet moments before the storm, Jacob and Lyria found solace in one another's presence. Beneath the starlit sky of the alien world, their hands intertwined, and the barriers of language and species dissolved into the purity of connection. Lyria's bioluminescent glow shimmered softly against Jacob's skin, a symphony of light and life that spoke of love born not from circumstance, but from choice and devotion. They shared dreams of worlds rebuilt, of futures where fear was replaced by understanding, and where the scars of the past could heal in the light of hope. The battle itself was a tempest of cosmic fury. The outpost's defensive systems flared to life, casting radiant shields and unleashing torrents of energy that clashed with the invaders' dark technologies. Ships danced through the void in deadly patterns, weapons blazing with the fury of collapsing stars. Jacob piloted the nebula's whisper with fierce determination, weaving through enemy fire and coordinating with allied vessels. Lyria, connected deeply to the outpost's neural networks, guided their defense with a clarity born of ancient wisdom. Together, they became a force that embodied the indomitable spirit of their people. Amid the chaos, Jacob faced moments of peril and revelation, encounters with foes that tested his resolve, glimpses into the true nature of the cosmic struggle unfolding around them. Yet through it all, the bond between him and Lyria was a beacon, a source of strength that illuminated the darkest reaches of space and soul. As the dust of battle settled, the outpost remained standing, a sanctuary preserved by sacrifice and unity. The invaders were repelled, though not defeated, and the struggle for survival and hope continued. Jacob and Lyria stood together at the heart of the restored sanctuary, their faces turned toward the horizon where the twin suns rose in a blaze of golden light. The universe was vast, unpredictable, and often cruel, but in that moment, it also felt filled with promise. Their journey had begun with a chance purchase, a cheap ship with a mysterious companion, but it had become a voyage of transformation and transcendence. Together, they had faced the shadows, embraced the unknown, and forged a new legacy not just for themselves, but for all who dreamed of freedom among the stars. And as the light of the rising suns bathed the crystalline forests in warmth and hope, Jacob knew that whatever horizons awaited them, they would face them united pilots not just of ships, but of fate itself. Chapter 5: The Rift Beyond. The battle's echo had barely faded when the true scope of their predicament became clear. The invaders' defeat had bought only a fleeting respite, a mere pause in a cosmic tide that threatened to engulf everything Jacob and Lyria held dear. The outpost's ancient sensors had detected an anomaly, a rift tearing through the fabric of space-time, pulsating with energies both terrifying and magnificent. This rift, swirling at the edge of the system like a wound in the very skin of reality, was no natural phenomenon, but a scar left by cataclysmic events from ages past, and worse, a beacon that could invite unspeakable horrors from beyond known dimensions. Jacob stood on the observation deck, the panorama of swirling lights and cosmic storms stretching before him in dizzying vastness. The nebula's whisper rested quietly at dock, systems humming in readiness as the crew prepared for the unknown. Beside him, Lyria's presence was a calming yet electrifying force. Her bioluminescent patterns pulsed in sync with the rift's unsettling rhythm. She reached out, her touch ghosting across the transparent barrier, and Jacob felt the silent transmission of warnings and hopes carried in her every movement. Their bond had grown beyond necessity into a union that tethered two worlds, two species, and two destinies. Now, more than ever, they needed each other's strength. The rift was a paradox, a gateway and a graveyard, a source of ancient power and potential annihilation. Ancient texts recovered from the outpost spoke of the Riftwalkers, enigmatic entities said to traverse the veils between realities, beings both creators and destroyers. Some believed the rift to be a remnant of the Ilari's own technological experiments, a consequence of their attempts to harness the raw fabric of existence. Others whispered that it was a wound inflicted by darker forces, a looming menace that sought to unravel the cosmic order itself. Despite the danger, the Outpost Council resolved that the rift must be studied and, if possible, sealed. Failure was unthinkable, for the consequences would be universal. Jacob and Lyria were chosen to lead the mission, a blend of pilot, warrior, and diplomat, bearing the weight of not just survival, but salvation. Preparation was meticulous and tense. The crew pored over star charts, analyzed energy fluctuations, and reinforced the ship with experimental shields designed to withstand the rift's chaotic forces. As the nebula's whisper set course toward the rift, every second was thick with anticipation. Jacob navigated through cascading fields of cosmic debris, while Lyria interfaced with the ship's systems in ways that transcended technology, her consciousness entwined with the very essence of the vessel. The rift grew larger in their viewscreens, a maelstrom of swirling light and shadow, a nexus of impossible physics and ethereal beauty. It beckoned with both promise and peril. Approaching the rift's event horizon was an experience unlike any other. Time dilated and contracted unpredictably, stars distorted into ribbons of color and light, and the very air seemed to hum with ancient song. The crew felt the strained mind and machine alike battling disorientation and waves of raw energy that sought to tear the ship apart. Yet within this chaos, Jacob and Lyria found a strange harmony. Together, they wove through the turbulent currents, her intuitive connection to the rift guiding them where instruments faltered. Inside the rift's heart, reality was fluid and malleable. Visions flickered alternate timelines, lost civilizations, and potential futures flickering in and out of existence. The ship's sensors detected a presence and intelligence vast and inscrutable, communicating in pulses of light and sensation. It was a consciousness both alien and eerily familiar, a guardian or perhaps a prisoner of the rift itself. Jacob realized their mission was no longer mere exploration or defense. They were on the threshold of a revelation that could reshape their understanding of existence. The encounter challenged every belief and instinct. Lyria's bioluminescent glow intensified, her patterns weaving in complex rhythms that resonated with the rift's energy. She became a bridge between human and cosmic, a conduit through which knowledge and understanding flowed. Jacob felt the enormity of their journey, the intertwining of love and duty, fear and hope, destruction and creation. When they finally emerged, battered but enlightened, the universe felt irrevocably changed. The rift had not been sealed, but a dialogue had begun, one that promised new alliances and new dangers. As the stars wheeled above them once more, Jacob and Lyria knew their path was only beginning. The cosmos awaited their next move, vast and unknowable, filled with both shadows and light. Chapter 6. Echoes of the Forgotten. The aftermath of their encounter with the rift sent ripples through the fragile peace of the Ilari sanctuary. Whispered rumors spread like stardust, tales of a cosmic gatekeeper and a human who dared to navigate the impossible. The council convened in chambers carved from crystal and light, deliberating the implications of what had been seen and felt. For the first time in generations, the Ilari felt the stirrings of hope that the shattered remnants of their civilization might yet be woven back into the grand tapestry of the galaxy. Jacob, once a solitary scavenger, now found himself at the nexus of interstellar diplomacy and cosmic intrigue. The alliances he had forged were tenuous, spanning species and systems fraught with ancient grudges and competing ambitions. Yet, within this web of politics and power, he and Lyria remained an unshakable core, a symbol of unity born not of convenience, but of shared trials and trust. Their exploration of the outpost's archives revealed startling secrets, artifacts, and data caches that hinted at a deeper cosmic history. The Ilari had once been part of a galactic council, a coalition of races that governed the balance of power and knowledge. The rift was but one fragment of a larger cosmic conflict, an eternal struggle between forces of order and chaos, creation and entropy. The stakes were far higher than survival. They were about preserving the very fabric of reality. With this revelation came new responsibilities. Jacob and Lyria led missions beyond the sanctuary's veil, seeking allies among distant stars and forgotten colonies. They encountered civilizations, both wondrous and terrifying worlds where bioengineered leviathans roamed, societies ruled by sentient AI, and nomadic tribes who navigated the currents of space with uncanny intuition. Each encounter enriched their understanding, but also revealed the vastness of the challenges ahead. Yet even amid these triumphs, shadows loomed. The dark forces that had once pursued Lyria's people had not vanished. They adapted, evolved, and multiplied, their reach extending into the heart of galactic politics and commerce. Assassins, spies, and mercenaries stalked the corridors of power, their motives inscrutable, but their intent clear: to seize the ancient technologies and knowledge the Ilari guarded. The threat was constant, a specter that demanded vigilance and sacrifice. Jacob grappled with his dual role as warrior and lover, diplomat and survivor. The burden weighed heavily, but the love that had blossomed between him and Lyria was a wellspring of strength. Together, they navigated the intricate dance of hope and fear, forging a path that honored the past and embraced the uncertain promise of the future. Chapter 7. A New Dawn Among the Stars. The final chapter of their epic odyssey began beneath the radiant glow of a distant supernova, a cosmic beacon illuminating the possibilities of renewal and rebirth. The sanctuary had evolved from a hidden refuge into a thriving nexus of knowledge and culture, a symbol that even the deepest scars of war and exile could give rise to beauty and hope. Jacob and Lyria, now seasoned by trials and triumphs, stood as leaders not just of their people, but of a coalition bound by the shared dream of peace and understanding. Their love, once forged in the fires of desperation and chance, had become a beacon itself, proof that across the endless expanse of the cosmos, connection could transcend species, language, and history. The nebula's whisper, their steadfast companion, now gleamed with renewed life and purpose, a ship no longer just a relic of past battles, but a vessel carrying the promise of futures yet unwritten. As they prepared for the next voyage, one that would take them to the farthest reaches of known space and beyond, Jacob reflected on the journey that had brought him here. From a desperate bid at an auction to battles across rifts in reality, from the silent companionship of an alien stranger to the shared command of a cosmic legacy, his life had been transformed beyond measure. The stars stretched infinitely before them, a canvas of light and shadow, mystery and revelation. And as the ship's engines purred to life, carrying them toward horizons uncharted, Jacob and Lyria knew that their story was but one among countless others, a testament to the enduring spirit of exploration, love, and hope that defined life among the stars. Together, they crossed the threshold of the unknown, their hearts and souls bound in a journey without end, forever guided by the light of the universe and the unbreakable bond forged in the vastness of space.